The Isle of Arena. Such a nice place for a vacation, especially this time of the year, though I gotta be honest, it's probably bad timing because there's about to be a huge battle between the Canaanites who won their freedom from the Egyptians. I'm joined here by Cyrus, who's another content creator, and there's gonna be a link in the description for his channel. Anyway, the battle plan. I have a lot of mid-tiers who just want to grind it out and overwhelm while my Shasu archers and cheap clubmen do all the killing. On the Egyptian side, we have a lot of high-tier elites here. Sherden are great, Canaanite traders, the renowned and veteran units can do a lot of damage, and elite Medjay warriors. I have to play the skirmish game pretty good, and now we're opening it up into the Sherden. They're decently armored, so my volleys won't do too much, but my Shasu are already opening fire on the enemy's general who's exposed. Yeah, that's not gonna turn out good for them. Meanwhile, my Hupshu, my dirt cheap peasant axemen, are already charging the Sherden, and as history has taught us, you don't really want to fuck with sea people. And that's what they're about to find out right now as they get demolished by the Sherden. Rightfully so, but you know what? Sacrifices must be made. On the right flank, I'm using this unit of Hupshu, which I plan to rear charge with, to draw away the elite Medjay warriors. If these guys connect, they will slaughter them, but I don't want those guys anywhere close to my front line, so I'm just gonna keep kiting as much as I can and distracting them from the battle. Look, my plan actually worked out, so those guys moved there, and meanwhile Ramses is exposed, so my Shasu are just slaughtering him with bows. There is nothing he can do. Let's go slow motion and take a look. On this side, my Henhu are destroying the renowned Canaanite swordsmen, but they're getting shot in the rear by the Syrian archers, so they're actually taking a ton of damage in HP. This is a really good play by Cyrus. Meanwhile, the Sherden are demolishing the Hupshu, but that was their job. The Hupshu are there just to buy time. In the middle, I'm keeping Irsu to give everybody the Axe Master buff, while the Marianu of the King protect them from the elite Medjay warriors, which were kicking Irsu's butt. And on the right flank, there's a lot of elite units. Veteran Canaanite swordsmen, shield bearers, and elite Medjay warriors versus my mid-tiers. How's that gonna turn out? Probably not the best for me. Meanwhile, as you can see, Ramses is just getting obliterated by the Shasu. Shasu are a fantastic bow unit. They don't have too much ammunition, but they come in a larger unit size of 120. They're not too bad in melee considering they use the short bronze sword. Look at them, just pumping volley after volley. It would be no surprise if the future pharaoh would just find himself running away from the battlefield. He's basically routed, there's nothing much more to do for him. And remember those Hupshu? I just used them to rear charge the Sherden. They kited enough, they managed to do some bloodshed, though unfortunately the Sherden have a fear aura. It's not gonna be good for the enemy's leadership. They will massacre them, but my clubmen did what they need to do. Disgustingly cheap, disgustingly cost effective, and that one charge killed 24 Sherden, believe it or not. Yeah, when it comes to clubmen, something's gotta change. On the right flank, my Sabu Najib are managing to grind it off against much more armored Canaanite veterans. There's not much going on here though before the grinding connects. They don't have the killing power, my guys do. Sabu Najib here losing into the Sherden somehow because they're flanked by the elite Medjay warriors. Just look at this. The elite Medjay are capable of causing so much damage with their Kopesh, and if it's the axe variant, yeah, you're pretty much out of luck. The left flank though is completely wrapped up. The Henhu managed to destroy the Sherden here. They already killed the elite Canaanites. There's not much they can do here. The light Syrian archers are destroying my Henhu, but I have nothing to threaten them with. Except this one unit of Shasu warriors, which is out of ammunition, and it's about to show to the Egyptians why Shasu were so annoying. Well, the Egyptians already historically knew that, but let's go. They get a brilliant charge into the Syrian archers, and they're going to massacre them in melee, equipped with Anatolian-style bronze swords, which for some reason have 40 weapon damage, and I consider that pretty low for the weapon type. But we're not gonna judge, we're just gonna enjoy some archer on archer melee action. The Shasu are decisively winning that, the Shasu get a charge into the slingers as well. Ammo well spent, money on their bronze swords, even more spent. Meanwhile, the Marianu of the King are just grinding the Sheridan Spear bodyguards. There's not much to be said. On the right flank though, my Hupshu are getting destroyed. This is nobody's surprise, but the Sabu Najib are still managing to grind off against the elite Medjay and the elite Canaanite mercenaries. But do we see something in the back? The Sheridan are moving in? Oh yes, a big clash between the Sheridan and the Hupshu. Now the Hupshu are gonna do so much damage because of their true damage clubs. It doesn't matter that they're dirt cheap. All club units in the game are cost efficient. This is just something that needs changing ASAP. The multiplayer is not bad, don't get me wrong, but something like this definitely needs change. Okay, so the left flank is completely wrapped up. The Hupshu and the Shasu charges absolutely destroy them. Shasu are coming in for another rear charge here into the Sheridan. Yeah. I mean, how mentally ill do you gotta be to basically be half naked, nomadic, in charge into one of the deadliest foes of the Bronze Age? Well, apparently pretty crazy like my dudes over here, so they're gonna manage to actually rout the Sheridan. When we look at the tactical view, the Egyptians have mostly left the battlefield. My cheap clubmen are somehow barely alive. Sabu Najib, they're close to dead, but they were fighting against much superior units, and my Marianu of the King and Irsu are alive. They managed to kill the elite Egyptians. You know what? This is pretty much it. Canaan is free again. Now let's take a look at some critical moments of the battle. Forcing the elite Medjay swords to chase my dirt cheap Hupshu around removed them from the battle and gave me some much needed breathing room, and that in turn let the Hupshu come around and do a decisive rear charge into the Sheridan. Firing with Syrian archers into my Henhu was a great move by Cyrus. He demolished their health and effectively neutered a really big win condition of mine. Exposing his general so openly to Shasu bowfire basically deleted him almost instantly from the battle, and that allowed my Shasu to close in and deliver the melee killing blows to his units. The Sheridan and elite Canaanite troops did a great job at bogging me down, but at the end of the day, it was not enough, and Irsu has liberated the Canaanites. Absolute insanity how much value the Hupshu got. Remember, 310, and these guys got, some of them got double their value. Sabu Najib were fighting much tougher opponents, they still got some value. Marianu of the King, they were there to hold, they did their job. Look at the kills on the Shasu. 1270, almost 1100. These guys cost like 600 something, and they more than paid their worth in blood and gold. Unfortunately, the Henhu didn't do too well, but it is what it is, and the Hupshu did pretty fine price-wise. They were there just to be meat shields anyway. On the enemy side, the Sheridan did fine. The Kopesh elite didn't do as much as they should have. The ranged units actually insane value on the Syrians, and that's because they were firing at my elite axemen unopposed. I love it, right? The elite Canaanites were mainly holding, so not too much value of them, but hey, occupied flank is occupied flank. PHARAOH multiplayer can be fun, it just needs some changes, and we're gonna get into those soon. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this battle, a lot more to come, and stay tuned until the next time.